Group 7 Kill Squad bot review. We're gonna be doing it.
I'm gonna talk over you the whole time.
You're good, man. You can do it. I allow you.
Oh.
Tune in to the bot to the macro review of the weak side.
Tune in, pendejos.
We're gonna need a little bit more of in general like people. Whenever we get into the 10, we're gonna start. Da 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 da.
Did the race start?
No, not yet. So, well, it is 9 p.m. So let's start this recording. Give me a second. Where is... Start recording.
Oh, if you don't want to record this, I will.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay. So, welcome everybody. This is like a little of a macro review for the G7 and qDPS players. It is just like to make sure and to clear some of the doubts and like questions that like what is your job, what is your priority here, what should you be doing like at the entire time of the Fort Ferry and stuff like that, and outside and inside for the kill squads. So let's start with a little bit of the basics, right, for the G7 uh, and like the composition also for the weak side DPS. G7 has three disruptors, right? Each one has like a general role. They usually can have a fire staff or a bow, right? They can have either or and a healer. Perfect. So there is like three roles that they need to be at least for the outside phase to get accomplished right now. So we all know about this. It is the sender, right? Your great sword, target color, right? And the flex that we also call the holder, right? So we all know like the jobs of these three players. Also for the weak side, what DPS. In other case, they have a melee schizo, right? That it can be a spear, rapier, spear hatchet, or greatsword hatchet, or even it can be like another disruptor in heavy. Like it just have to be somebody that is able to lock down a target, right? A fire stuff and a bow, right? Why this composition? Like with this composition of three players. These three players together have the pressure and burst to eliminate any role in the war. It doesn't matter if it is heavy. It doesn't matter if it is a light healer. It doesn't matter. They have the pressure and they have like the burst to kill anybody in the war. This is why we also call it quad DPS because like they are usually the ones that have like the most DPS in the entire war, right? So let's do a little bit of roles that we need to be paying attention between at least weak side in the openers, right? Usually we're gonna have an opener in general that is gonna be whenever it is defense, right? It's gonna be to trying to contest A, right? So this depend of how we wanna play it or how we are gonna try to play it, right? In general, I'm doing this in the defense perspective, but I can also do like an offense perspective where it's like the same thing, right? Okay. So usually, what you wanna be prioritizing in this first like engage in the opener, it is this space in Oppo. Why? Why we wanna be prioritizing this space in Oppo in general than this space in the inner? Well, it is as simple as like in Oppo, you have literally more space to kite away and bring out the pressure outside, and like you also deny and like hold the angles for the point, right? Like instead of like being looking at the point like this, they you are literally sharing this space with the enemy. But like if you contest the spot like this, you literally limit the enemy to try to push just this way. Like in general like perspective, having more space, it means that kill squad is winning. Like as a disruptor, your priority should be always to try to prioritize space.
So,
This
Mike, I
is
have a
the
question for you, Vyke, on that. On
Yeah,
prioritizing space. Let's
yeah,
say you're being contested, and you
yeah,
you you've won a little bit, right? So you kind of your bows and your fire safe quadrupeds are playing a little bit away from you. But you're starting to get contested, and you have to withdraw and give back a little bit of space to them,
yeah,
because there's always going to be that ebb and flow to a battle, right?
yeah.
Where do I move as Group Seven? Like, where do I need to play? Like, if I'm getting pushed back, do I run to Oppo or do I run to Bonfire? I mean, like, where do I go?
So it depends of how like the fight is like developing, but you always wanna be going to Oppo. In general, you don't wanna give this
Oppo
space. Yeah, yeah, in Oppo,
for Group
you don't.
Seven.
Yeah, like in Oppo,
What
you
do you mean?
don't wanna be like in Oppo, you don't wanna be giving this space. Never.
Are you
Right.
referencing A point or C point right now?
I'm really confused because to me, I don't think I would play Oppo as Group Seven.
Yeah, no. So if we're
I play
referencing
Bonfire.
if he's referencing A point,
Mm-hmm.
then we are talking Oppo.
Yeah. You
Mm, I
so
understand.
like
I'm not
so
looking at the screen. I'm sorry. That makes
okay,
sense.
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, like you don't want to be given this space in here. Like this space, it is like important for like your DPS, because this space will let your bows and your damage to being able to wrap around, and they only like have this way to get into the fight. That means that in all of a sudden, your damage is gonna have an angle to engage, and you guys can hold the space because you are limiting the space that they are trying to enter into the point, right? So like this is like the first thing that you guys need to be having like whenever you are doing this type of openers in general. You don't want to be giving this space because like a lot of the good kill squad group 10 and stuff like that in group 7, they will try to prioritize this space and try to limit yours like your way like this, so like it limits the way that you guys are trying to enter, right? The same thing, you see, like they have oppo control, you like they have a lot of way to kite around and bring the fight really far, while they are able some players to contest the point, right? So like this is why like in the openers you want always to prioritize this space over here. The same teams go for c flag. Like you don't want them like just to like run to the point and stuff like that, because like they have this space, they literally can like jump into your lights. Like you don't want like just to be having an opener like this and just go straight to point, right? Without like try to even contest the space. So it is a matter of like what you need to be doing step by step, right? For at the first in all the fights, I try to secure the space for at least my lights, so they are able to to play, right? They need to play because I need their damage, I need their healing, I need their support, right? In general, like in this meta, it is impossible to kill like a player alone, and if you kill him alone, that guy probably doesn't, he has some issues, right? So this is a matter that we need to be taking care of, like in this opener. The same thing goes for the quad DPS. Like in this opener, the quad DPS will follow up with the kill squad players. And as soon as like there is a tick going on into the flag, this formation does not break. It is just that it transitions from here to a little bit of here, but a little bit of like try to contest this space, not letting them wrap for free, right? Because like if they wrap over here and like they're constantly always also point, they should be overextended and get targeted, right? This is a really good uh, example of how we need to fight these openers, right?
Yeah,
The quad
speaking of
DPS.
that, like real quick,
Yeah.
if I'm quad DPS, Once we diff your fight, like when and where do I go, right? Like off the G7 fight. When should I peel off of that fight?
So let's say that like at the beginning it's always gonna be like in the majority of the cases an AVA, right? As soon like in this fight in specific, you are still in this fight unless you get called like into rotates, like let's say the caller call you weak side quad DPS to float over here, right? At that point they also like probably this quad DPS or this quad DPS also like just they see okay, we cannot win this fight, we're just gonna be floating and like we're gonna go try to pressure B, right? Like it is the only time you as a quad DPS is gonna be giving this fight, or let's say as an opener, we are 8 here, but there is 15 of them. You never, ever, as like probably kill squad number one rule, you never try to contest outnumbered. Never. You don't do any no PRs, we don't do any wars, right? And if you get outnumbered, let's say that you guys probably are the attacker and all of a sudden they rotate 15 people to you, you want to pull this fight out. Why? Because what does that mean? These 15 players are losing time over here that like literally free the entire like war to have 7 players more elsewhere, right? You want to be stalling this fight. You want to be like make them lose as much time as possible in here whenever you are attacking and they rotate like a lot of players, right? So they are able like to find value elsewhere into the war. Like as soon as you see like they rotate like more, just go out wide, don't die, like don't contest A, even if you had it at 90%. Like you don't engage like 15 BA, like in any situation, you are not gonna do it in like wars, right? It is better just stall the fight, put it out wide. Same thing that group temps does, like whenever like they rotate to a lot of players, right? It is the same thing. You are just like trying to build up that tick, so that there is like pressure into the entire army. This is like the quad DPS should be playing this a little bit more uh, flexing between like this fight because it is an opener, right? So you want just to match. As soon as like the battle is over, usually what end up happening is like this squad DPS just rotate to B, make pressure. Like at this point, this squad DPS make pressure. We also like try to rotate. Then it's probably it's gonna be like a 5v5 on here. Then at one point they're gonna say no, rotate 10, and then like the defenders just give, right? It is like this A point. It is usually does not take like more than 5 minutes, and if it takes like a lot of that more than that, it's like weird. So like it doesn't last that long, right? Usually, I think I have an example of AVA. This was a war against Topol, right? So like I'm here trying to stall the point, but look at my entire team. They are all with Oppo control. We are literally limiting the space to engage into the point. You see, this is a good sample. Yep. Like we just want to stall. Like as soon as they try to push over here, boogie, pushing. They should be the first target to get punished. I got you. Like just see how we limit. Like we just want to hold this space, but now we also want to prioritize on the tick. Like, get it. It's time, center. Nice kills. Right side on type. Boogie. Full run. Full run. He's out. I see Andy. Dead. Andy dead. I'm pushing back. So as soon as like this fight is getting like Mario, Choco, we already won this fight. You see, we have Coleman, sorry, and Icy here. It is just a matter of like who we can fight on and plus on. Go ahead. Fucking dog shit player. Okay. There is like these things about like this A fight. You see how they like literally gave the point and like they start like rotating the quad DPS to B. Like at this point, I call them my quad DPS to rotate. But at this point, they also have like one or two more quad DPS to come here and like try to match like this fight. We're literally just trying to stall this fight. This in this, I believe in this occasion, they have just like a quad DPS musket plus in this fight, and it is a 5 b 6. So like they have a little bit of number, but we just like literally want to stall this tick point. Like don't let him play for free. Don't let it like try to prioritize on the tick and try to make pressure into the point. Like this is what we wanna be doing. Like we just rotate our quad DPS so they are able to rotate into the B. They tick the B side, make pressure, see is they ticking, and also like at that point just like try to secure. As soon as we lose, we try to give the space a little, but we don't wanna like just give it completely. But like this is already a losing fight because it is a 4v6, right? This is like the whole idea of like this opener. Like we just want literally to hold the time, make the other army to over rotate, so like this alleviate and buy more time for the B flag at least. Like this phase of the war does not take like a lot of time in general. That does somebody have any questions about this? Okay. So now we're gonna go to the B fight in general. So uh, so the priority of this each group of the quad DPS in here and the G7 are a little bit different, but they it is like they stay together like a lot of the times, right? Like they quad DPS is over here, and like just group 7 is like a little bit wider group from group 7 in general, right? So they coexist with each other. So the priority of the group 7 in general, it is like to prioritize this inner lane pressure. This is why we have like more players in here. This is the quad DPS. The quad DPS is just to prioritize this inner lane pressure in the left side, while like group 7 trying to hold the space of this other group that is trying to push to the row and try to get like the space for the other quad DPS, right? So in general, they coexist with each other. They help out with each other. This is why also a lot of people say that this is like group 70 and quad DPS. It is almost like an AVA. But like you don't want like them just to be here like the entire time and plus in this fight. Like they need to find value in your fight. As soon as that happen, they prioritize this inner lane. They prioritize this space, like healer slide, the other quad DPS staying over here, right? It is the same thing that happened for like the group 7, right? Group 7 want to contest this group that is trying to push, right? Even if they get outnumbered by the quad DPS and you guys already, let's say, got already a pick on the healer, you guys don't need to stay and match over like the other group, because at that point we already have won the fight, right? What we want to be doing is as soon as you guys won the fight, our fight, you guys try to get pressure and value elsewhere, right? Because you are always the first one like try to prioritize that inner lane space. We if their quad DPS try to stay over here and push us and match us, it is their problem. We are just gonna be stalling this fight in general, stalling. That's how you make a value into group 7. It is not literally kills. It is literally holding the space.
And
This is
also
why a lot of
kiting. And then
yep.
one more thing to add to that is like when you are outnumbered as a G7, also make sure that you are kiting the fight away from point. So you want to pull the quad DPS, you want to pull the G7, you want to pull that fight as far away from the point as you can, so your quad DPS can get value while they're over pursuing.
Yep. You don't want to be putting, let's say, as a defender, you don't want to be kiting like towards here. That is where the healer pockets sit out, right? You want to be probably like if they are pushing you, you want to be kiting over here. Like because at that point they need to overstand our position, and at this point if they try to push this like without anything and the response just come, like you guys get this entire space again and these guys are overextended and they die, right? So like group 7 is more like you relied a lot on the response, right? Because the response give you that false confidence of like numbers in general. So this is why like group 7 needs like to be having more a track on the respawn that any kill squad in the game, because like they have like that extra pressure, that also the quad DPS, right? But like they have that extra pressure of like the response whenever they come, right? So at this point, whatever we want to be doing, let's say as a group 7 prioritizing, at least for the disruptors, is to hold this entire line over here, this space, right? The line that we want to be holding, the like like our critic line should be over here, because we don't want them to be pushing our healer pocket for free, right? So as soon as the quad DPS is able to float into our fight and like find value, they find inner lane pressure again. It is like the entire creme of the creme of the quad DPS. The bows and the fire staff of like and our fire staff, right? They have the facility that they have range, and they just literally need to look, right? But like, let's say the melee of this group needs to understand that as soon as they win our fight, he needs to be here and hold this space and hold this space and find value in point, right? Like that is the difference. Like the bows can be looking, plus like they can stay over here and plus, but like they just literally need to turn to find value. This is like the difference. Like they want to be prioritizing this pressure over here and on crashes, right? And like also our probably our fire safe, like also like the fire staff in this group has to be like a really good player, because he needs to understand when he needs to be on aid, and also when does he need to help on the crashes. So it is like more tricky for this player, because it is not like, okay, we gotta pick now, I just need to look at this, right? He needs to be looking and paying attention to his group, while also like to be paying attention to this inner lane pressure, right? This is like the general like idea of like how weak side quad DPS make find value into group 7, but how they also find value into the point. Also, this doesn't also mean that group 7 cannot flow and try to like help with the fire of group and inner lane, right? Inner lane space, right? But there is always have to be like a person or like a player or probably a holder or a disruptor that is always being paying attention. That usually is the flex role that does it, right? That they always want to prioritize the lane pressure, right? So whenever they get contest, let's say like all these players like try to flood over here into the inner, right? Uh, at that point, then like the other enemy push, like we give the entire space for free without any contest. So this is like another thing that it is generally like discussed with entire like quad DPS and like group 7 thing. Like group 7 cannot just neglect their fight and just try to go and find value on opposite or like bonfire in this case in C point, right? You don't want like, because if you ignore their fight, what you are doing over here, they're gonna be doing the same thing over here. So it is like a science. You don't want them to find value, right? But you also want like to your team to find value every time they can, like every little sliver. This is why like having like for G7 in general, like we just have like 10 seconds a lot of the times to find value. Like as soon as those 10 seconds happen, like the response just come. Unless their team is staggered, like we just like do a snowball for pressure, right? This is really not frequent whenever it happens. For G7, in the majority of the times, it is just like literally a stall fight. We literally just out listen, survive, and whenever we have like outnumber and we see our quad DPS finding value here, we just literally stole the fight. This is why Group 7 does not have a lot of kills. The same thing with Group 10. Like, it is that whenever, in like probably 90% of the cases, that like, whenever the Group 10s are like match at all, there is like not a lot of kills between each other because it is just a perma stall point. Like they just like literally stalling each other, trying to deny the value of each other. This is the same thing that happens to with seven. Does somebody have any other question? Nobody have a question about like the bow here or the fire staff or the melee? Okay. So also we are the last one to rotate, right? So if we are the last group, at that point, group sevens, group seven, it is more like a point holders. We try to stall the tick whenever we have like 7, 3, and 5, seven in the left side quads. We want to be putting the pressure a little bit closer to point, and we want to be stepping into the point a little bit, at least the disruptors, because like we don't want them to build tick for free. We just want to stall this tick whenever, like, let's say they are wiping on C and the rotates come from the desk from C to from welcome to B. We just want to be stalling this tick. As soon as the army and the position is like does come back to normal, we want to take our spot and secure it, right? But because we are one of the last rotations, we want to prioritize tick in this situation than like just try to prioritize this value and like push over here. Like whenever I see like the point is like ticking 50 and there is just three groups, right? And like I see a kill squad like pushing over here like this, I'm like, no, this like you are the three last rotations and like they are ticking because they have like a response coming to this way, right? So you want to prioritize and slow the tick as soon as like the rotations come back, you get out and like get your space right again. Okay. So the C fight it is for G7 and quad DPS like the same as the B fight. It is the same thing. Like we just like want to prioritize this space over here and these ramparts, so our quad DPS is able to find value to into inner bond and like try to find value over here, right? As soon as we have this space, this group seven and the fire staff of our group can like flood into like the inner trying to find value. Same thing with some of the disruptors, probably the Grazer player trying to find value. As soon as the response come, we default to back and like we hold this lane. This is why I was saying that the line of holding of group 7 is more of like a give and take, right? Whenever the response are coming, our line just like depleted a little bit, but as soon as we got also our response and whenever like we have like some advantage, this line floods and develops, and at that point we hold all this space, right? That makes free for our quad DPS to try to find value in this inner lane into the crashes on bottom left or top left, right? Or any healers or lights that are trying to heal from this side. Does somebody have any questions about this fight? Nobody? Okie dokie. So now we're gonna be talking about kill squads in general inside Fort. What we should prioritize, what we should be doing, and in general, what is the area that we want to be flooding every time, right? So I did like a little bit of a diagram over here, like what is the priority of this of the space that you want to be prioritizing depending on your group. Like inside four, it is more that each kill squad attacks a quadrant. It is not like just group 7 is like attacking ball left and like A and 9 are attacking right side, right? It is more like everybody is working together to push the pressure into like the points, so like the crashes clumps up together into that space, and we are able to like to tie it up and like to build up on the tick, right? uh, Inside four, it is it is also like there is a lot of things that can be happening, right? like let's say like in this group 7 or this group 10, right? You guys get like plus by quad DPS and why not, and you guys are literally just in an eternal like 5v10 or something like that, right? I wouldn't call this bad. I would call like this like if this group 10 is able to stall this fight, survive, and try to stay over here, over here without dying, right? They are already finding value. This is one thing that we need to understand in general in the wars. Whenever a group 7, a group is getting like plus elsewhere, the first thing that you need to think about it is that there should be 5 other players finding value, better value elsewhere. Like if you can like this is the thing of wars, right? Like as soon as you have more players on you, that means that there is 5 players doing something else, probably finding doing the same thing that they are doing to you or better things, right? So this is like one thing that we should prioritize whenever we are a kill squad and we're getting plus. In any situation, we would just want to stultify, survive, don't risk it, don't go for kills, go from a offense perspective, like to try to get targets into a defense, into just like peel and stall, right? This is like the general idea what you want to be doing. This diagram that I did here, it is like a little bit of like overseeing of what each kill squad need to be doing and like what is the pressure and like the space that they need to impact whenever they are inside fort, right? So I'm gonna do another explanation. Let's say this is for group 7 specific, right? Let's say that we push in, right? As soon as we push in as a group 7, what you want to be doing, this is our inner our green space. This is the space that we want to be pressuring all the time, right? This is the space that as I see and I go and look around, I should be seeing my probably the 5 players on my team, right? So what you want to be doing, it is literally come here and placements and store and shops, right? You want to be like getting this pressure out into the ramparts and then put it into point, right? Into hell. You want to get this pressure from here to fort, like to the hell. You don't want to bring this pressure to the top. Like you don't want to be doing that. This could be like let's say an opener that we like try to go like to the top and then like try to bring this pressure to down and then to stage and then like it is just like an extra step. But like we want to bring this pressure over here in this space near point every time. Like it doesn't matter if we're fighting and we're stalling. If you are attacking, let's say you are attacking, and you never bring the pressure nearby point, you are losing your fight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you got a pick and you're still fighting over here, you are losing your fight. You are doing nothing for the army. You are literally getting stalled by the other enemy, by the defenders, and at that point you are the one losing. Okay? So what we always want to prioritize is come over here, try to clear this, go put the pressure into dirt or like near hell or in the point and try to help like the dirt and like this inner like top prio point, right? This is what we want to be doing as a group 7, right? Another thing, like these yellow spaces, it is like a maybe action. What do I mean with this space, right? This is a space that you can float in and help and try to snowball another team, or like let's say like the group 10 is still like not able to like to float his fight, right? If like let's say your entire quadrant is clear, you can literally help and make a little bit of pressure like in his space so it doesn't feel like the groups there is not a kill squad over there yet, right? You can be doing this also for 7. You can be doing this in top right and top left or in bot right, right? I never want to see a fucking disruptor from group 7 in this space. like in this other side. This is like the other side, like the opposite side of your space. And at that point, you are too out of position. You are not able to float in and do your cycle, right? So like in this space, like you are literally doing nothing. Let's say this is like the group 9 that goes over here. I don't wanna, or the group 10. I don't wanna see a group 9 over here or something like that. Like I don't wanna see any players of group 9 like trying to contest this space. Or like, and I don't wanna see like if you're group 10, I don't wanna see any group or group 9. I don't know. I don't wanna see any group 9 players or group 10 players like coming over here, right? This is like the space that it like, and it is already good enough, right? What you want to be doing in general in kill squad, the rotation is like you go in, put the pressure nearby point or dirt, help the point. As soon as you hear like respawns are coming, this is why like the response calls are really really important for the kill squad. You wanna come here and retake your space. The same thing goes for all the kill squad. Let's say you are group 10, you win your fight, you put the pressure to there, from there you come to choke. As soon as you hear respawns are coming, you default to top. Put the pressure, hold this line, hold this space, put the pressure back to there. Probably plus like this group 7 that is also putting the pressure here. We dog players and then like try also like to look at choke, right? That is the general idea what we wanna be doing as a kill squad in general inside Fort. If you are not doing this cycle over and over and over, you probably, this is like the times that sometimes like you see like, oh my god, they are overflooding a ramp stage, or oh my god, they are overflooding a top top of B or something like that, right? It is because like there is a kill squad that is not doing these rotations and is not taking care of like the space that they are in charge, right? Uh, a prime example is whenever, like, let's say, oh no, the respawns are coming or something like that. A lot of the healers are free over here and they respawn for free. The first thing that they're gonna do is literally go station look at the point. This is why whenever there is a response, a lot of the healers like, not a lot of healers like try to go there whenever like there is contention or something like that or something is happening. If they see like something free and they are not getting contested in that space, they're gonna be there and stay over there, right? Killers like to find any place that is like not contested by disruptors outside, even ball players. So they just literally stay in line of sight whenever they see, oh, I'm not getting contested by nobody. I'm just gonna stay here and heal, right? They like to be in these little copies. They like to be in LOS, like in these cars over here, something like that, where they can get cannot get pressure. They like to be in lane placement because they can drop, bring off the pressure, right? They like to do all these things, right? Uh, but as a kill squad player, what you want to be prioritizing is like making this pressure that you have here tighter to point. This is what you want to be doing every time.
Here,
Like,
we're here.
like, let's see, because in this war, I believe we just did it like in the end. Our group was doing the things perfectly, but the army was not. I believe, yeah.
Don't die.
So okay. So this is like the last. This is like the last push, right? So I literally told my entire team to pull out and put in it like the pressure into the inside, right? We don't want to be like just like fighting over here. We want to be fighting and contest this fight because like we figured out that our group 9 or 10 was not doing this job. So we just try to pressure this part over here, right? So
Go E, go E. They repair E. They
so at this point,
nice.
we are here in my space. This is my first default space, right? I try
So fresh, so fresh.
I try to make this pressure near to point.
Right side, right side, right side, right side, right side, right side.
I hear a crash. I try to help the crash. I look at top, nothing on top.
Collector,
I see the
stairs,
sealer.
going to top. Nice. Collector, no stone for, no stone for. Stem, stem. Stem. I'm gonna vice him. I'm gonna vice him. I'm gonna vice him.
I see players over here.
I'm gonna vice him. He's in
You see?
stage. Yeah.
I come over here. This space should be my default. As soon as I bring the pressure inside, I go to my defaults.
No bubble. Hey. Vice. There. We got the AOE. Go, collector.
We try just to find
Collector.
value around. Healers, lights.
Flash. Nice. Out of there.
Seeing as soon as we see that pressure, we help the point.
Bear.
Respawns are coming.
Steady guns and bear. Steady. Nice. Bottom right. Yeah, I'm on it.
A lot of healers coming. We help the group 9 with the fight, with the response. We got some killer
We need
with
to
kills.
step. Go in there. Just hold chill. Don't die.
And we pressure the point in.
Go left side. Let's say it's easy to step.
30 seconds.
All in.
A lot of healers. As a kill squad player, you want to be pressuring the healers. So this is what you want to be pressuring. Like all these healers that are trying to step, push them out. The crash goes, easy win. So like this is like in general like what you want to be doing inside 4 as like kill squad players. You just want like to control your space and help the entire team to win. For the quad DPS, it is like kind of tricky, right? Because it is more like a matter of like where the best value is for the army, right? In general, what you wanna be doing and like wanna be like locating for any quad DPS player, it is to locate where all the healers are like trying to stay, and at that point, that is gonna give the entire army like a basic rotation of like what is the spot that we own and what is the area that they own, right? Whenever there's a lot of healers, that you need to the first thing that you need to think is that they own that space, right? This is like this little diagram that I did over here. Like let's say all the healers are standing on stage, right? Like the general like idea that you need to know is that there is gonna be like more players floating around in this spot because like the healers like feel like secure whenever there is like a lot of or blue around them, right? So this is like the general like idea that you guys need to be understanding, right? So let's say there is like a gate getting plus or something. So you guys can do like two things, right? It depends of like which like in what position you guys are doing or like where you are or what you are doing right now, right? Let's say like E gate is getting plus by the enemy. If you guys are here and you hear that, like you can say, oh my god, if that is happening, let's plus like this uh, other side. Like let's plus this inner side because all the healers are here, and also like this is not the gate getting plus, right? Right? So like you can find another way to engage on these healers and try to make them force and rotate to another place, right? Like also what you can do it is like if you guys are here and hear that, you can contest that pressure, right? It can go either or. It just depends of what is your situation and like where are you at the moment and what is going on in the army right now. Your priority as a quad DPS inside 4, it is to find any value and to try to snowball one of the kill squad around the 4, right? Or to deny the pressure of the other kill squad of the other quad DPS if you guys are better, right? So it is just a matter of like who the kill squad inside 4. It is one of the most tricky things because there is not like a right answer what you need to be doing. It just presents to you, right? Like let's say there is a lot of healers over here. Like that should be like probably your prime value that you need to follow up, but there like there is never like a really like hey I need to be just doing this every time, right? like because these healer pockets rotates in all the side of the fort, right? Sometimes for some other armies, what they like to do is literally they like to get like a safe space for your army, right? So they tell the quad DPS just to float one side of the fort, right? So in this and like this is like how the battlefield looks like. At that point, you are always winning this side, right? And at that point, it's from the quad DPS to find value into the other side where the healers are gonna be standing, right? A lot of the things what I have been seeing in these late wars against mechars like to have a lot of healers in this like bottom side of the fort. Like a lot of their healers, because they cannot stay like in this stage and stuff like that, they like to prioritize like this bottom choke point of the fort. I don't know why they do that, or like there is something off with the we probably our formation or how we like approach crashes or something. But they like to do this a lot. They like to maintain this position in the bottom and trying to flood on their like. Then they try to like declump into the left side or right side, depend who where the pressure is coming from. Right? Let's see if the pressure is coming to the right side. They like to come over here right away. So this is like a good note to have. A lot of the healers like to be in these like sketchy spots or like in this shop area or like in top of B because of like the LOS bug, right? Like there's no need for LOS, so like that also makes it like top ramper really really OP right now. Uh, for the quad DPS, they just literally need to find either like help another kill squad to flood, and then they can like try to pressure the side and try to do that like into all the other kill squad, right? And then at that point, they can also like just flood to kill squad and then like focus on healers. So quad DPS, whenever they are attacking, they need to be making be the ones making the pressure. In general, whenever you are defending as a quad DPS, you want to be denying that pressure, right? Whenever you are defending as a quad DPS, you want to deny the pressure of the other quad DPS and also flood the one of the kill squad. For this, you need like a really, really good player that is able to identify where is the best value for the army and why not, right? And what the other army is doing. Like you need a really good player that is able to identify uh, the in general, like what's the other army doing. Also, like relays for Kill Squad and Quad DPS are really huge inside four because they help really, really a lot with the information that is given, right? Because with that, you cannot expect somebody just to guess, oh my God, they are here, we're gonna go here, right? Without any information. You need to make sure that like this information is being flowed by all the kill squad. All the kill squad are maintaining communication between each other of what's going on, right? And like what they need and what is happening. Because in Ford it is more in Ford it's more tricky in general. All the things that can happen inside for quad DPS and kill squad players. But remember that the end goal it is literally to bring the pressure to point. That should be always your goal. Point is goal. Point ticks. We win. We win wars. Uh, and yeah, that's what I wanted to explain for the G7 Quad DPS a little bit macro overview, and that's why I also wanted to explain a little bit of Quad DPS weak side overview macro of what we need to be doing and what are each other priorities. Does somebody does somebody have any questions? Hello?
Yeah, I've got a question. So
Yep.
let's say you have a sender, right, and he gives you Biff pills through the whole war. What are you willing to do for that guy?
Uh, we don't talk about that. We don't
Yeah.
talk about that.
Okay, buddy.
But also another thing that I wanted to point out for my kill squad teams, there is two ways that you guys can play out in fort, right? There is a way of this, like, let's say the sender, right? Deny the pressure of the healer, right? There is another way that all the kill squad players target one player, right? So it is just a matter of like what you guys are more comfortable of. Like in fort, there is not like a really like, hey, you guys have like you guys need to do this fucking role every time, right? The sender and holder,
Yeah.
right? Like there is two ways. Honestly, the sender is like the more default and the one that I would recommend whenever you are like with new players, stuff like that, or like with new group of disruptors, right? But inside four, I do prefer everybody to target the same player.
Yep.
That player even getting DE on repeat with three disruptors and a fire staff, or let's say two disruptors and two woes, he, he's not gonna survive. He's not going to survive. Like this is like a thing that I do try to practice and like try to tell all my kill squads. It is like inside four, look for your great sword player, look for your target caller, and like heal the same target, target the same person because there is more value. If that person is a healer, go for it. If that person is the lie and you think that is an easier target, go for it. Like you are just literally trying to have like that little advantage, so you are able to flood and put like that pressure towards point. Also, like don't try to whenever like you are like trying to get a target or something like that. If like that target is flowing to another group, like just let it. Like you need to maintain your space all the time, all the time. Don't try to go over here because you are like dogging the same target as a group seven. What I told you that this is like your no space, right? Don't try to do that. Like don't tunnel vision. Try to prioritize your space in four, and like try over and over and over do the cycle. Go back to the top, push that pressure towards point. Try to dock there. Try to float another kill squad, then go to top again. This is a cycle. Same things goes for 10 over here, right? They are in top. They put the pressure to there to choke. Oh, response. Going to top again. They hold the top, right? This is why a lot of the lights, let's say group 10, they have two bows. They are gonna be standing over here because like the same value they can do over here on top, they can do it to there, right? And they will have like better angles and stuff like that. So it is more like they will call you out and they will tell you, hey, respawns are coming. We need to come back here and contest this, right? It is like the team with the same like with the fire staff and healers, right? A healer will be over here like respawns are coming, or the fire staff, hey, the respawn just hit, right? This is just a matter of like everybody needs to put the little bit of help for the entire synergy inside four, because communication is like a beast in any situation, and the more information that you give your entire team, the better they're gonna work. Period. Yeah, that was the like the macro review that I wanted to do in for my kill squads and a little bit
Good
of
message, Vyke.
uh, oh, yeah. Also, like if you are like fighting a fight like it doesn't correspond to you, and like you are getting like they, let's say their group seven is playing over here, like it was the group seven in outside four, and now they are like they swap a little bit, right? You want to like swap too, like you want to maintain your fight, and don't like try to ego and change it, right? Because like it is better whenever like there is a match between roles, right? Let's say the composition of Group 9 is not the same composition of Group 10, right? Neither the composition of Group A, neither the composition of Group 7, right? So we always, whenever you guys find out and this happens, like try to swap. Doesn't matter. It's just gonna be better. It's gonna feel better, right? Your guys already have been fighting like an X amount of time outside of four. You guys already know how the other team plays, right? So like don't try to swap it just in four just because, right? It is better like if you maintain your fight and you know who is the weakest asset, because that's one of the things that us disruptors do. in general is literally we analyze the other team and we just try to literally try to find value everywhere. All the players do that. They try to analyze their their weak asset in that team every time. Okay, that is just a recommendation. So like let's say if sometimes if it happens again, Group 7 tells you, hey, you're facing E-Gate, we can change. We need to change. You guys need to stay in here because the raid plan it is just a plan of the beginning. And like to be honest, it what it ends up happening is like it always gets changed in more like competitive wars, right? So it is just an idea, a general idea, what we have at the beginning. Don't think that it is like the last thing that we need to be applying all the time of the war because it is not. I'm telling you, it doesn't happen. The other army tried to do some crazy shit like overloading fucking back gates or something like that, or overloading like front stage, right? So it is just an idea what we need to be doing at the beginning. But as soon as there is like an asset or something happen, we need to also readjust. Okay. Uh, yeah. Uh, does anybody have another question about the topic? About the general idea of macro and the quad DPS?
For quad DPS and fort, right?
Yeah.
It, so should all five of the quad DPS players they should just have a formulate like general game plan. Hey, we're gonna overload E. After we overload E, we can go and plus over to over gate C, and then snowball there, and then a stat, and then just basically it's all a very fluid and flexible role in a sense, right?
Yeah. So the quad DPS in general, it is like you guys trying to find value. It is like you guys are like a fifth kill squad. But what is different about you guys? It is that you guys have like the burst to kill anybody, but you also need to be like pressuring where like the most value for the army is, right? You can honestly, yes, you can like try to flood and pressure like another kill squad so they are able also to snowball with you guys. But you also need to understand what is the most valuable thing to do at any time of the fort and at any tick, right? So there is always looking around, hearing the comms from the kill squads to each other, and like the general comes from the kill squad, right? What is going on and what is happening, right? Uh, we need the more information you guys have from the battlefield, the better you guys are gonna be able to readjust and engage on what is happening. So I wouldn't say like you guys can have like a beginning plan. Like usually what they tell like our the quad DPS like nowadays is like hey, we're gonna like make this side strong side, right? But like I don't want you guys just to be like uh paying like 99% of your attention in here whenever this is clear. You need to like try to find value elsewhere. You know what I mean? So it is just a matter of like, okay, you guys can have an initial plan, right? But I don't want like just people like just standing here free casting and blah blah and just like maintaining this space because they tell you to that, right? The
Yeah.
other army readjusts every time. The only army will readjust and will pressure here. They
Yeah,
will
they're
try
also
to.
they'll respawn too. Like if you wipe them on backstage, they have the option to respawn front stage too, right? So they'll look to respawn somewhere where that's not contested, and then gain value from that position after.
Yep. So it is a matter of like you guys need to be like really open and like try to see and decipher what the other quad DPS is doing and what you can do better. Do
And
I need to match
definitely
them?
have whispers set up too with the other kill squads.
Yep.
Even if it's just one person, like in the quad DPS, like if one of you like Prio's whispering, G7 or something, like you just need to have that information relayed back and forth between the kill squad. That way we can know how to anticipate what they're gonna do based on the space that we're holding.
You can also confirm that you're getting those comms too.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said,
Eh,
it doesn't have to be on one person. Like typically, like Vyke is the guy that's been like relating to the shot caller, the quad DPS. That's typically who we work with, but I think me and Chaco can like pick up some of the slack on that, and then we
Yeah.
can also relay information as we see it because we have the better like line of sight for the fights and things, and we can kind of see what's going on, especially Chaco because he's all feeling a lot of fights.
But yeah, does somebody have another question? Nobody.
Any change up to the comp of quad DPS that we're going to be running, or is that same consistent?
I think it's gonna be the same one. Well, in the strong side, we're gonna be flexing a little bit. We're gonna need a melee and a bow because like we all have like this pressure that the fire staff are really good to pump out damage, but like it's not damage that is gonna like kill in general unless it is a crash. We know that in crashes everything dies, right? Like the thing that kills in wars is the burst damage in general. So like having a melee player that is able like to open a window for burst, like let's say a melee player or like a razor player that is able to pump out a lot of damage in burst, like it is sometimes better. And a bow, the flexibility of the bow is that the bow is able like literally just to look over and find value. That is why group 10 is a team, right? The group 10 just literally need their bows, like literally they won their fight, they just need to look and they are already finding value, right? That is the
I think it
difference.
ultimately, yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to like the level of player that you have available as your DPS. Also, you got to look at like who you have in the G9 because if you have a good bow slotted in G9, you definitely want fire staff because you already have that guy. Like the strong side DPS are going to like play with 9, like weak side play with 7. And then once the 9 fights won, the bow is going to work with the fire staff and the G8 fire staff to diff everything else. And that's like if you put 3 fire staffs and a bow on somebody, like if they're a light player, they're gonna die. Like there's no way that they're gonna live through that burst. In my opinion, solely, like fire staff has the highest burst in the game per combo. Like as quick as you're gonna get the combo out. Heavy fireball pillar is like you can drop somebody to 20% HP, and then you get a good bow that can follow that up, whether they're G9 or it really just depends on what we're slotting in the other groups as well to play off of.